Hi, welcome back to Mechanic Garage. I sold this last Sunday and he rang me on Wednesday saying there was a bit of an issue with it, there's a bit of a water leak. So I'm fair, I thought he's only had it a couple of days, I'll have a look. So he brought it back over to have a look. Got to find, well, I suspect I know what it is, however, until I get to bits, we're not going to know. Right, remember before we had the oil leak and it was coming from on that lid's air. Well, it's dripping coolant onto exactly the same place. It wasn't before, not to my knowledge anyway. So this housing goes back through with the oil and the water in as we did before. I'm going to take the air filter out and have a look. I don't know if I've missed a bolt at the bottom. I didn't have any bolts left over, and the one bolt I did have is because I replaced a stud. If you've seen the other videos, you know what I mean. So my plan is get the air filter out, have a look, and if there is a missing bolt, it's coming from exactly the right place and it's a quick, easy fix. If it's not, need a bit more investigation. It's a bit on the cold side today as well. It's not an ideal day for it, but running out of days before Christmas. So we get the air filter off again, and then I'll have a look. I'm hoping that's all it is. Let's get this out. And if it is that, it just shows we're all human and occasionally miss things. No, it's not that, is it? Let's get this bracket off and have a look. One, two, three bolts. I haven't missed one then. Balls. Is it the gasket that's split out? I've tightened it up too much. Or is it something else? Right, so I got the inspection camera out, and you can have a good close look using the camera. It's not the best quality image in the world, but you can get into corners you can't see, and you can check where things are leaking, if they are, or you can have a really good look in there. There was no sign of any leakage from either the head gasket or that pipe on the corner. Checked out the other hoses and everything else. There's no sign of it now, having tightened up that bolt, so fingers crossed that's cured it, and that's the end of that. And then we go underneath. This is looking at the end of the head from above the gearbox. You can see the edge of the gasket poking out, just slightly oversized, a bit of sealant on there, but there's not a hint of any coolant anywhere. There's no loss anywhere around there. It's all bone dry. Right, I've got it running. I've bled the air out just to make sure it's all alright. Got the side off, just literally wait for it to run now. I've tightened up all these bolts. This is the one I suspected I'd not put in, but it is there. So you got the 3 bolts there. They're your thermostat ones. The bottom one wasn't overly tight, so I'm wondering whether I just didn't tighten it enough, because it's leaking ever so slightly there, or was. It doesn't appear to be anymore, but it could take a bit of time. I mean, it's not losing loads, but it's losing a little bit. So I'm going to leave it running for a while. And see what's what. They also say it doesn't warm up very quickly, which is fair comment, I guess, because it's this sort of day and weather, you'd notice it because it's freezing. It could need a thermostat. It's 2 bolts, dead easy, dare I say. Yeah, So realistically now, just leave it running and see what happens. Right, we're back in the car. Well, I'm in the car, and yeah, I've got the diagnostic connected up because I'm going to read the actual temperature, because this is saying it's just below, I think it's 80, 90 actually, and the fan's kicking in and out. Now, if the temperature sender for the gauge isn't reading correctly, that'll read low, but the fan keeps kicking in and out around that sort of temperature. So what I'm going to do is read the actual temperature, and then we'll know if it's the thermostat. When you take it for a drive, it suddenly cools down. It's the thermostat. If it's the sender, it'll be reading completely different to what the dashboard says. So I'll stick it in the side now, and we'll have a go. I'm going to record the diagnostics so I can compare the actual temperature against the dashboard temperature, because the fan's kicking in, but apparently it doesn't warm up very well. So it could be the thermostat, it could be the temperature sensor that's telling it it's not. So I'll put the information here for you, and you can watch along with it. Let's go for this, and then scan the engine, and then shouldn't be an error code, so we should be able to go to live data then. There we go, data stream. Engine cooling, air conditioning. Engine cooling temperature 86. So that's actually about right. Coolant temperature reference requested by ECU 105. Engine temperature 92, 93. The fan's kicked in, but the temperature gauge is still saying bang on 90. It isn't moving. So 91, 90. So that and that are about right. It's kicking in at the right time. Thermostat's open at 88 or thereabouts, as they do. So I'm guessing it will be the thermostat, because that's cooling down nicely now. Right, well, that's confirmed. The gauge is reading correct, more or less, with a couple of degrees. Yeah, because it's 90 at that one. Yeah, 90 degrees it's saying. And this is saying 88. It's just under, so that's right. So it looks like I probably need a thermostat. I'm going to take it for a quick drive. If the temperature suddenly drops as soon as you drive in, then it's definitely that. That creak. Just going to take it for a quick drive and see what happens to the temperature gauge. If it drops really quickly, then we know the thermostat's had it, because although it's sat still, it can hold hot water. When you get back, when you get a bit of speed up, the coolant will be cooled by the air coming through the front. Just take it for a 5-minute run around the block. Right, just driven it down an air road. Good run at sort of speed limit, and looking at the live data, it's gone down to 72 degrees, so it's overcooling. So that'll be why the temperature gauge drops. So it will be thermostat. So it's showing just over 70 on the gauge, so that's reading correctly. So the gauge is right with actual temperature. They're both telling me the same thing, and they're both making sense, because I can feel the heaters going cooler as well. So we'll get a thermostat and chuck that in it for you. Right, rather than show you the back of my head for all that time, I thought I'd just pull out the thermostat, because it's straightforward. Your second temperature reading on there, and I've just seen something in there you can't see that doesn't look quite right. So I'm going to get this out of the housing and see what's what. But I think I know what's wrong with it. There's these two little tabs there, I don't know if you'll see it, and they stop this pressing down. So you press it down, and twist. And twist. There you go. There you go. That's a bit that holds it all together. And this is the actual thermostat part of it itself. And you can already start to see, you could if the light was any good, maybe nearer the edge. You can already start to see there's an issue. That rubbery bit should not be there. That's why it's not opening and closing properly, because that's trapped, and also it is not holding the water back. So I'll go get a new one, as I suspected, and we'll get back to that in a bit. Right, I'm back. Gonna get a new one, and yeah, you can see the end of it there. On the inside of the last one, there's a rubber poking out. So this is definitely what's caused it to not warm up. The water leak that it did have, I tightened up a bolt, and it hasn't leaked since. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Right, I'll stick it back on tripod and get this back together. Right. First things first. Find where I put the thermostat. Really? Found it in the pocket of my hoodie. Wow, genius. Right, you got a temperature sensor, click that back on. You're not going to be able to see a lot, age-old saying. And that clicks onto there. And then you've got 2 bolts. Two bolts that hold it back in. One top, one bottom. That'll take a long time. Drain the cooling system out altogether and put fresh in again. Because as you've seen, when I had the thing apart, it was a little bit on the rusty side inside with older coolant, but it's all clean and fresh now. Get this in, get the pipe back on, fill her up, check for leaks. It'll definitely be better with this anyway, and it'll probably run a bit better because it won't be fighting the cold all the time. Don't need to be tight with those, they're only little. Little and into plastic. And get this pipe back on. There's a little locating peg. And I don't like these clips because this one's got like a little release thing on it. There's my torch. And when you squeeze it together, it locks. But then when you take it off again, it wants to twang. So then it twangs. And if you've got your fingers in the wrong place, it's going to hurt. Right, get this bottom pipe back on. I'll drop the bottom drain hose off just to get rid of all the water out. Yeah, not something you really can't see. Right, temperature thing's on, that's on. Just put the side plate back on. You can still get to the bleed screw with this off. And I'll run it up to temperature again. This time it'll be a lot quicker because the thermostat will be working. Just tighten these up for the bracket, it just holds the air filter on. And as I did last time, you've seen me undo this bleed screw on the side of the head and on the heater. I should fill those both. I'll do both of those again. Fill the cooling system. Yeah. Why is that so tight? Oh, I'll just done it. I'll just done it back up. Ready to use coolant. Fill it up with those bungs open. It should let the air straight out. Let's go start her up. Just in time for the rain again. Just wait for it to start dropping a bit of air out. Bit of water outside the cylinder head. Right, there we go. That's that bleeding. Eventually started coming through. That's the head blade. Let's top it up a bit more. Bleed this heater point again. Right, just need to get wind, bit of. Right, that's hot water, nice hot water coming out of there. Just need to get that top of the radiator now. That'll probably come out when the thermostat warms up nicely and lets the water through. There you go. That's the air out the top of the radiator now. So that's everything bled. Let's check the heater again just to make sure. Yeah, that's good. So, quick drive, warm it up. And that'll be it. Well, just did a quick run around the block. It warmed up literally in about half a mile, 3/4 of a mile. It was up to temperature. It's sitting there now in the middle. The heater's a lot hotter as well. So that's the thermostat problem sorted. Just got to let it run for a while and make sure that we don't get any more water leaking down there. But I haven't seen any since I tightened up that bolt. Didn't have to tighten it much, but sometimes that's all it takes. Let it run up till the fan cuts in. Then we know it's got hot, it's full circulation. Check for leaks under thermostat, 'cause that's all being apart. Nothing. And then once it's cooled, we'll check the water level again. Fingers crossed it'll actually be alright now. So they can get the car back. This sun's out now, stopped raining. It absolutely chucked it down earlier. Luckily that was when I was driving to Lincoln and getting this part. Most of the time it was actually, it was alright, but it's still a bit windy. So yeah, just got to let this run, check there's no leaks down there, and check the water level once it's kicked in, and that's it done. Fingers crossed it's all going to be sorted now, because it's definitely an improvement, and there was definitely something wrong. So thank you very much for watching. I'll try and get another one out over the weekend, but if not, we'll have a good Christmas, and there'll be a Christmas one at some point. Cheers. Thank you.